Yet another opportunity for glory awaits one lucky individual once the 10th event is complete here at the PokerGO Cup. But today, it's time for event number 5. As we're midway through the festivities, it's the $10,000 No Limit Hold'em final table, and it's a collection of real talent. Not talking, of course, about Brent Hanks, who's sitting here beside me.
Easy.
Yours truly, Ali Najad, here in the booth having a good time, but the real stress is upon the shoulders of those who are battling here in this 6th edition. Buy-ins ranging from $3,000 to $15,000, 25K PGT passport up for grabs. And there is Landon Tice, who's looking for his first ever PGT major title. A factoid, I confess, Brent catches people off guard just given the familiarity with that name and that talent. 3.1 million up at the top of the leaderboard to kick things off.
Landon Tice may not have a license to drive, but he has a license to solve. He's known as the child of the sim. Will he bring home his first title today?
69 entries, just 6 remaining. 10 players cashed. First place worth over $200,000. Aram Zobian and Darren Elias, the most recent of the eliminations, and get a look at the glory. That PokerGO Cup points toward it, along with that PGT passport. So valuable here, and plenty of them up for grabs as we get the cards in the air. Brent, should be a good one.
It always is, Ali, it always is.
25, 50, and 50. Level 18, those are the blinds. And Sean Winter, right there to the right of your screen. Very well-known commodity in the super high roller circuits. He actually has more in career tournament earnings than all other 5 players seated around him combined. And that's saying something when you consider that each one of them have north of 7 figures themselves.
Winter is an all-time great. Not just No Limit Hold'em, he can play a variety of games. PLO might be his best.
Yeah, part of that South Floridian crew that cut their teeth in the 4-card streets, and perhaps looking to cut into this King Jack Open from Landon Tice will be Big Huni with Ace Queen in the big. 560 declared.
Clearly going with it. And does Tice want to be a customer? Opportunity to eliminate Hunichen.
Now,
You're 5K behind?
that 3.1 million in front of him can easily absorb this blow, but he has to presume King Jack isn't doing all that great against the range. And into the bin it goes. So a nice start there for Chris Hunichen. 17 million in career tournament earnings for the 41-year-old. Father of 2, boys Derek and Bison cheering dad on. Formerly ranked the #1 online player back in 2015, is very much a man of the brick and mortar streets of late.
East Carolina University, an alum, the Purple Pirates.
Yeah, you know, I confess, it's not the kind of institution where I presume academics are the priority.
Yeah.
You know,
what do you believe that they specialize in down there at East Carolina?
intoxication,
Yeah.
street pharmaceuticals,
Right.
sports,
Sure.
you know, and lighting mom and dad's tuition checks on fire.
Yeah, I went to school for all of that.
Ace Queen making another appearance here, this time in the stewardship of Michael Berk. 2.8 million in career tournament earnings for the young 30-year-old native of Chicago. A community college dropout, he says. Things have been going just fine for him since, as he makes it 740,000. Meaty here. Sam Laskowitz pondering on the puck with the Queen 10. I suspect it's going to be a short-lived deliberation.
Well, he's only got 5 big blinds. Does he feel like the hand is good enough to go with?
Well, he is going to give it a think there. Time bank being utilized. Brent, if I park Queen 10 in front of you here, is that enough?
I'm probably out. You might have a little bit of fold equity left in the event that you can find a better spot and just open shove and accumulate. You might be able to find better hands as well.
Fold.
Sure enough, it does eventually hit the bin. Winter here in the big, dominated.
Could be queens or kings.
That pre-flop sizing from Burk very much in consideration of
paint.
Both Sean
Oh my god, you run so good.
and Sam stacked up.
Look how good you just ran. Bottom of the range. And you have fucking queen 4 suited or something.
Yeah, Sean would have gone with queen, queen, or queen, king.
I
but
believe so.
queen, jack doesn't make the cut. Burke hauls that one in.
Qinghai Pan as well, and Wild Sweat. You saw the queen first.
I didn't see anything first.
Oh, wow.
Burke, by the way,
Same thing.
2026 PGT kickoff event, number 5 champion. Picked up
Wow, I'm done showing my hand.
$262,000 for those efforts as you get a look at the chip denominations, brought to you by Splash Sports. Bumblebees, Barneys, and Bluebirds from right to left. Another Carolina boy, by the way, Michael Berk, South Carolina. Only started playing poker in 2019. That's a late bloom on him, Brent.
Now, is that where he dropped out of community college, was down in South Carolina?
I didn't get a specific reference to the community college, but I would imagine one doesn't travel away from home to attend community college. You kind of stay in your community.
I didn't realize it was possible to drop out of community college. I thought if you just entered, you were done. You got your degree.
Yeah. Well, that isn't quite how it works, Brent. I hate to, to deflate your spirits here early in the broadcast.
Learn something new every day.
But I think dropping out, I mean, you just sort of stop going. It's not,
275.
they're not going to miss you.
They're not
You know
going
what
to
I mean?
boot you.
The
you know.
registrar's office isn't calling, going, where are you?
Right.
You know. Laskowitz hoists the main sail with an ace-6 offsuit. Now Winter with the hard 8. But perhaps even harder decision.
This is pretty brutal for Winter. You have hands like ace-4, ace-3, ace-deuce in trouble.
Call.
He is going to make the call. It's the one stack that he covers, Brent. So
Right.
getting it wrong here or having it not work out isn't fatal. It could be harmful. And Laskowitz did lead 5K back.
275.
And for those less familiar with this process, Brent, the whole raise to almost all of your stack, then it gets back around and he's kind of stalling. What is the thought here? What is the strategic procedure?
Just in case things went haywire behind him, perhaps Big Uni was all
Here, I'll
in,
just-
Winter's
I'll
all
splash 5
in,
in there.
Tice calls. You could, believe it or not, consider folding the hand like that and move up in the payouts. However, as we can see, those payouts that
You
are
got
looming,
pocket queens?
gone.
Winter with the dark
Rolling.
5K, given that he flatted
Possible with a pocket queen.
pre-flop, and he does flop for his full, which
Oh,
has
pocket full,
Laskowitz all but dead.
Yep.
Running queen 6, queen ace, queen queen, ace ace, things like this.
Folded with queen.
Improbable, of course.
What do we have here? A delivery of sorts. Is this a hat delivery from young Jeremy Becker?
Couldn't even take the tag off, bro.
Right in the middle of this all in.
Yeah, nothing serious.
game.
Good game, bro.
And on the turn, unfortunately for Sam Laskowitz, his time in the on-deck circle leads to a strikeout. Always the man upon whom the eyes were focused. His departure yields $38,000 roughly in fruit, but higher hopes, of course. Maybe a little sweat, a little spin, get some poker under his belt. Not to be, though.
It's
here
frustrating.
today.
You come in as the short stack. You just let the guy win the first all in. You know, give him a glimmer of hope.
Well, to be
He's still
fair,
getting the
Sean
right
Winter's
price,
stack
right?
wasn't
Even at that
exactly
table?
deep, and on the back end of that
No.
one, he now
Yeah.
plays 20 bigs. No longer
Well, now
In
he
that
knows
kind
he got
of-
a queen. I mean,
red alert
I
situation.
waited till he
Running
put,
six
I
and
waited
two-time
till he put the
PGT
5 in
major
before I
champ.
said that, though.
See his bio board there, brought to you by
Surprised you
GPI
waited this time.
and the Hendon Mob. Chris Hunichen, now officially
Come
the
on, I'm
short
outta
stack.
No free info.
Everybody calls him Big Honey,
Yeah,
yet the last name is pronounced Hunichen.
right.
Why don't we call him the Big
Eric
Unit?
War. Haven't seen him
I mean,
in-
because I think Randy
Long time.
Johnson of Major League Baseball fame is officially the big unit.
Rory.
Is that because his last name is Johnson?
You know, I don't believe that's why. I think it had more to do with his extraordinary height, in particular when on the mound.
Right.
You know, but maybe there's a double entendre.
Have we introduced
I don't even have to
Dr.
ask.
Jack yet to the broadcast? I don't believe we have, Ali.
We have
Right
not.
there.
Jack
Yeah.
Pan, a name that should
you
be
guys
familiar
unlocked.
to those who sweat the
Did
World
you, Money?
Series, just given he's got some jewelry on him,
did.
Brent.
You a lot of money
3
this tournament.
bracelets
He sure
for
did.
Dr. Jack, as we shall call him. In fact, he just won in 2025 the
Hopefully you make me some
10K
more.
Stud 08 Championship for more than 400,000. 3 bracelets.
I got to tell you, that's a man who looks equally prepared for a final table or some fly fishing.
Maybe surgery, too. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Type of doctor he is.
I prefer scrubs, you know, in the OR personally over button down and vest from my physicians. But, you know, fair play to Doc.
Well, he can certainly play poker, no doubt. All the games at a high level.
MD in medicine and biochemistry for the 64-year-old. And it's great to see him, by the way, out here scrapping so successfully, you know, as an elder statesman, as a man who is very much not a child of the sim.
Well, he's a senior of the sim.
Maybe. You think he's grinding? the
I doubt
solvers?
it, but he
Yeah.
can play ball. He adjusts quickly on the fly.
150 to skate, picks up Burk for the ride. Blind versus blind altercation here. The suited jack fails to improve on the king 6-4 board. Same story, of course, for the ace 10, but rights purchased to rep that king. And it looks as though Dr. Jack is going to exercise that right with a follow through of 150.
He's just hoping this can get through young Michael Berk.
Burke with $2.5 million is deep enough to do a little peeling here on the hunt for backdoor equity or to see whether or not Doc's got another barrel in him on the turn.
He doesn't even have to peel. He could also consider raising, but I believe you called it. He is going to float.
Oh, and he's going to find that backdoor hard draw, which rates to keep him intact. Note the relevance of the ace of hearts now for Pan. 650 in the middle.
It's really tough for Pan. You're just handcuffed. What are you doing? No pair, no draw, just ace high. And you're out of position.
And for Burke, you kind of safely remove most of the king combos from Pan's range when he checks turn, right?
Yeah, of course.
And so a little bit more comfortably, we can maybe deploy a barrel with this semi-bluff on jack-high hearts, and there it is. 230,000. I like the size, too. Feels like a man who wants us to call, and if that's the case, we ask ourselves, why is that? Generally, not because our ace-high is best, although on this occasion, as we see, it is.
He is really considering it, too. Just does not believe Burke, but judging by the posture, yeah, there he is. He's out.
Have you clocked the card protector on Dr. Jack? Is that a little Buddha, perhaps?
I missed it. No,
We'll have
we
to
got a
keep-
Buddha out there?
Well, we will have to keep an eye
All right.
and see what's going on. Here's a quick peek as we cast our eyes on the PGT leaderboard, where Brazilian Yuri Zivalevski has 934 points across 2 wins for $2 million in earnings. And that is a big chasm between he and Michael Berk, who took down that last pot, but is going to want to take down this final table to narrow that gap. Opportunity abounds. Lucky Chewy, Andrew Moreno on the list as well.
Well, you saw Dr. Jack also rounding out the top 5. So 2 of the early contenders on the PGT 2026 leaderboard right here at this final table. Here comes Winter.
100 to go, just a min raise with a very pretty king-queen suited. Glossed over it, by the way, but Jack Pan is 5th in the PGT leaderboard standings.
Just touched on that, Ali, but welcome
Yeah.
back.
I'm just kind of getting my bearings. The other thing is Joey Weissman is your defending champion in this one.
And shout out, by the way, to Joey Weissman and his now wife, Nellie Weissman. They were just recently married over the weekend. A number of our PGT regulars were in attendance at the wedding. In fact, so many attended, Ali, we didn't even have an event on Saturday right here in the PokerGo studio because no one was going to be here to play.
Now, as the CEO of the company, Brent, I feel as though this was a golden opportunity for perhaps an off-site event.
Oh.
Right? A lot of people, we have a reception. No, we're going to do the vows, then we leave the church, and we do a little PGT event.
We do event number 3 right at the reception.
Cake, catering, you know, maybe dancing after.
Yes. I like that.
You know,
great idea.
Perhaps we could do PokerGo wedding packages.
Sevens.
This is why you replaced Jeff Platt.
Yeah.
You really do have great ideas.
Well, I don't know about great, but I do have ideas. that I can tell you safely. Shame that Sean's hiding behind the shades out there today, because truly the most expressive face in all of poker.
He's got those darting eyes, the mannerisms, everything about Sean Winter.
And one of the better trolls and drier senses of humor on tour.
He might be the best. You're a man of fashion. Hold on, we take a look at a couple ladies under the hood for the big unit.
Yeah, I suspect that he's going to fashion a raise out of this, but carry on if you would, Brent.
Raise.
We'll get to it momentarily. It is Sean Winter's shirt that I'm wondering about. It had some sort of texture, a material, Ali, that I'm not familiar with as a man of Target apparel.
Is that sheer?
Might be.
Oh, raise and take there for Big Huni. And while the pros are battling here in Vegas, you at home can battle online. The PokerGo Cup is happening right now on Global Poker through March 15th. Win a turbo and qualify for the Tournament of Champions. You don't want to miss it. Play the PokerGo Cup online at globalpoker.com and bring the Cyber Cup home.
I didn't know the Cyber Cup was running over there at Global Poker. That's fantastic.
Are you suggesting that in spite of your C-suite appointment, things are happening within the organization unbeknownst to you, Brent?
I did not know that the online series, the PokerGo Cup, was running right now as we speak over at Global Poker. Did it say March 1st through the 5th?
150.
I don't know. I just read.
Might have
if
to go
it
back
did,
on it. Today's the 10th, last I checked.
You may be watching this broadcast on a different date, but indeed, that would be something to be addressed. It did say March 1st through the 5th, by the way.
Right.
So then did we just promote something?
Believe it's in the
that's
past,
no
or maybe it's a year from now. It's
possible
We'll get to the
partake
bottom
in?
of that, right?
Because you know, Brent, I hate to tell you this.
Thank you.
But while you might be tempted to hold some other individual accountable for whatever that little mistake was, it all rolls uphill. At the end of the day,
it's my fault,
it's
right?
your fault.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I get blamed for a lot of things.
Yeah. And also, by the way, if I do something while we're in here,
it's my fault.
That I shouldn't, it's absolutely your fault.
I'll take it.
You know, careful with that.
We'll get to the bottom of that, but I'm sure it was a lovely cyber series.
Are you going to fire someone by chance?
No, never.
Are you going to lay them off?
Probably. Just a minor suspension.
Couple of sticks on the puck here, Tice. The hard 14. Ace King now for Dr. Jack. Yep. It's Rip City here. 750 total. Tice snaps, and we're off to the races here in a 1.6 million chip pot. At risk is the ace king, the kind of hand that so many people go down with in the pursuit of glory, but obviously plenty of equity.
Queen 3 or 2.
As we're gonna see 45%, and there's the king, but a 7 along with it.
Oh boy.
Down, but not out.
It ain't gonna happen, Landon's a swingy guy.
Needs king, jack, or ace, queen or 10, something in that neighborhood, and instead it's a deuce of spades. With no spade draw, Dr. Jack goes flatline. And there is no defibrillation available.
That's good for us.
As $51,750 will help jumpstart his heart.
Good for us.
I love this guy. Dr. Jack, please
Landon's
play all
on
the
his
events.
life.
Every major, every series. Stay inside the top 5 on the overall leaderboard.
Class act, Dr. Jack.
Yes, he is.
Originally from Shanghai, China.
Also, if you wouldn't mind, Dr. Jack, I could probably use a physical. It's been about 20 years.
You know, I'm going to take the over on probably, Brent, just based on some of the observations. And I'm no saint when it comes to, you know, noshing while we're in here in the booth. But really, as he knocks back a 5-hour energy.
Yeah.
I know we were rooting for you, that's for sure.
mean, I don't know if Dr. Jack's specialty is this, but you may want to do an early screening for colon cancer. Brent, you know,
Colon can't. That's a
just because the things you eat.
that's a life ender.
I mean,
No?
if you catch it early, it's a you know, practically an outpatient deal. But if
You ever had
that's what
one,
I'm
a
saying,
screening?
You know? You mean a colonoscopy, Brent?
That's right.
800,000. 800.
The answer is yes.
How was it?
See, here's the thing, right? Like, I'm happy to have this conversation with you, but not while
Well,
Burk
yeah.
is asking Big Uni for all of
Here we
it.
go.
And we've got another all-in and call situation. Can we maybe just during the break, you and I can have that
As
chat?
soon
Is
as
that all right?
this hand is done, we'll get right back to it. All in for his
That
life
might be
is
best
the big
player in
unit.
world. Is that 5s or 6s?
5s.
Okay, cool.
Trying
I
to
have
avoid
What'd you have?
the probe
nothing. I'm just
from
watching
Burk.
people get eliminated.
Oh, yeah. It's nice.
I think I had a 5 maybe, but no, I didn't.
That'd be nice.
2 overs. Can't find them.
Oh, my God. I thought it was an 8.
And he can't counterfeit the 5s on a 3-3 board.
It was a good run though,
Yeah.
Unless it comes,
no matter what.
well, no.
I'd take
It's
that.
not even available. Forgive me. 10 on the turn, 6 outs. Can the big unit keep his seat? No, he can't. And the violence comes back to back as this final table has been
All right, now you guys
sliced
can
in
flip for the
half
tournament.
in an orbit and change.
Yeah, blink of an eye, and we're three-handed.
You're a really good bystander, son.
I was rooting for you.
Lost the flip.
$69,000.
Ace 8
It's a
to
nice
5.
score.
Yeah, add that to
Like
17
20
million
minutes and you made every leg.
in career earned, but I
And you
confess,
double.
this one is flying. So with that elimination, all of the remaining 3 players are guaranteed a minimum of
I'm big, right?
93,150. Winter
Dead by
far
myself.
and away the short stack with 22 bigs playable. But Burk is now neck and neck with Tice at the top of the leaderboard. You see it there at the top of your screen.
Well, Burk and Tice, they now have nearly 90% of the chips in
Should
play.
you be
And
dead with someone?
my, the show goes on. Tice now with 2 jacks.
Yeah, he's got the hooks, and he's going to work. A $110, baby suited ace on the puck here for Burk. A lot of hand.
And they very well may fight. One thing is certain, Burk is never folding in this spot.
Yeah, I like the flat here in consideration of the ICM, Brent. When you look at the pay differential between third and second right now, it's over $40,000. That's 4 buy-ins plus. And Burk wants to tread very lightly in pots against Tice. It would be catastrophic for him to bust before Sean. And far from that is this ace-high board for him as he's outflopped the jacks, 320 in the middle. And I think Landon's well aware that Burke's flatting range on the button is going to be rather narrow. He shouldn't be looking to get out of line.
I agree, although there is something to be said for a lot of your ace-X combos, whether it's what we can see, ace-4 suited, or even hands like ace-jack, ace-queen, ace-king. You would expect a high percentage of the time to face a 3-bet pre-flop. As played, I think Burke is very under-repped. Just calling pre, and again here, checking back flop.
Tournament dealers, I would like you to high card for your own button. Tournament dealers.
That's another wonderful check from Tice. He is saying, I am not betting. Absolutely pot control sort of situation.
Eight on the turn is put another flush draw out there.
Yeah, I think Burke now has to start putting some money into the pot. You've been checked to twice. It does check for a second time.
This is an extreme exhibition of the caginess of ICM with this chip distribution, Brent.
Suppose the mindset is, well, maybe we only ever get one street. And this is, I think this is really well done, of course, again by Tice. 80,000. And does Burke see through it and decide to raise? He does not, just calls.
Tice abruptly bins the jacks. Could have been a little bit bloodier had escalations ensued pre-flop, but Michael Berk knows a little bit better rather than to get out of line in that particular spot. That's in part how it is that he's managed to compile $2.8 million in career tournament earnings when he's not playing cards, little golf, little basketball.
Could see that. He's a big guy.
The 2-hour levels?
Burke. I'm going to go 6'2", 6'3". He's up there.
I would imagine that's good for golf and not just basketball, right?
Yeah, although some golfers are built like jockeys.
No, are they?
They can swing it. Oh, yeah, yeah.
I don't watch golf, Brian.
Tiger's probably, what, 6'2"? He's a big guy, but then you've got the Justin Thomases of the world, the Jordan Spieths.
How tall, how short should I say are they?
I would say they're probably, I'm going to go 5'10"-ish. Ricky Fowler, another one I'm saying.
I'm
These
5'10".
are under 6.
5'10's not short. I'm talking like 5'5". There's nobody out there 5'5".
Well, no, there are no little.
Like a little Fisher Price
don't
club
think
set
that
or something.
A little person is on the PGA. I don't
Hang
believe.
on. I didn't say 5'5" is not anyway.
That's jockey sized? You'd agree?
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. Jockeying toward this flop after limping is Winter. Taxes are paid and Tice out flops with bottom pair. Very wet 7-6 tray of clubs flop. Check. 4-liner. Courtesy of this 5. It does give Winter a two-way straight draw. I wonder if he assumes that given Tice raised it up out of the big, this board texture more favors his small blind limp and call. And sure feels that way as he brings forward 100K into the 350. Landon gonna make the call, and he's right for the time being, Brent. Oh, but the 4 slides in. Now he's playing the board, and Winter's got this 8-high straight.
Never a spot you want to be in where you're playing the board and facing a bet, which I would imagine is on its way from Winter.
Do you think he puts the full 790 out there looking to polarize?
I would want to get called. But
But sometimes that helps you get called because it looks so forceful. it looks so desperate.
275.
Yeah, he's going to go 275. I think there was no reason for Landon to call an overbet for all of it. Why would you call it a chop? But here, you're not asking for much. It looks like a chop is within reason. I could see this being paid off. I hate being in these spots. Landon clearly miserable in this scenario. But this is excellent
in there.
and perfect execution by Winter.
Tice flicking in
That
the
was an
call.
impressive total. I've never seen that one before.
And that's going to slip him into second for the first time on the
I think he
afternoon,
landed
and it's
as
going
well.
to move Winter north to 1.6.
You know how
He could
hard
like
it
bounce off
is
his hand.
to get a great player to call for a chop? So hard, Ali, I'm telling you.
Well, the job just got a lot harder for Landon Tice. 17 blinds south of Michael Berk, and he's got Winter pumped up to 32 bigs. With all of that experience, 36 million in career tournament earnings, Sean is definitely going to be a menace to the two youngsters. Not that Sean's particularly long in the tooth, just 35. Burke 30, Tice 26.
It's amazing that I really don't believe he has this driver's license, Tice. And he owns a Tesla. He bought Daniel Negreanu's Tesla off of him.
Really?
I believe it was a year or two ago.
Okay.
And I could be wrong, but I also don't believe he has passed the driver's test. So he's a Tesla owner and unable to drive.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's it's not great.
Well, it's a collector's edition, though, right? Maybe the license tags are still there. It says D-Negs. You just hold on to it. Sell it on eBay down the road.
You know, electric cars, I hate to break this to you, they don't really hold their value.
Yeah, but it's a Negreanu 1 of 1.
Right, but what good does it do if it won't take a charge?
I'm
You know,
not saying you have to put like a glass case around it.
Yeah.
Hold on to it. It's a relic.
put felt on the roof and turn it into a table.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Tice right back at it. This one was limped pre. Just sprinkling 50K out there versus what has become bottom pair. And Burke making the call. And finding 2 pair on the turn at the same time that Tice finds a gutter and a backdoor spade draw.
What a card this is. Understandable check out of position. You would hate to bet and get blown off your hand such as this. He is now fallen into, you know what, I'm going to go into check call mode. Maybe, Ali, there's a world in which he decides to check raise. That jack is so powerful. As we can see, jack 10 would be the nuts.
175.
So having come off the throttle, Tice now faces 175K out of Burke into 250. It's meaningful.
He is considering just call or check raise.
800.
Oh my.
800,000.
I'll tell you what, queens up is a lot of hand, Brent, but you have some concerns now. Kings up, 10 jack. Drawing live, of course, but
We're never folding. We're calling the 8 for sure and evaluating river.
well, I guess the first point of calculus for Michael Berk is going to be how much 10 jack is limping in the small blind against me here.
It's probably a lot, believe it or not, given these are 1 and 2 in chips and the way they like to play defensive small ball poker.
5 of diamonds, swing and a miss here for Tice, who bloated this one up. After the Burke call, pot grew to 1.85.
When called, you know you're up against probably more than just one pair. I mean, it's possible that Burke could have a hand like King 10, King Jack that's blocking the Jack 10, but I don't know if Tice is going to go for this.
Well,
When the check raise doesn't get through, you know you're up against a made hand. But look at
wow,
this.
he does go for it.
Wow.
And what's the announcement here? 1.3. And the shades come right off of Michael Berk because he knows the story being told. What he doesn't know is whether it's a fairy tale or reality.
Yeah, and this is kind of sick, right? You just don't expect Landon to be bluffing a lot. You think he's going to roll over Jack 10, but you beat all the bluffs. If Landon, you flip it around, if he thought he was trying to fold out a hand like Queen's up, I don't think he'd pull the trigger. He's hoping that he's only up against King X.
I'm with you, though. I didn't see Tice going for this. But you immediately can see how effective the decision is. Burke far from in a position to snap call this.
And notice he didn't go for all of it, right? It's value sizing. That's what makes this look so strong. Betting that 1.3 into 1.8. Everything about it just looks like strength, and that's why it's a perfectly designed bluff. And he should never be bluffing Ali. Burke knows this.
I'll say this, though. Burke unblocks spade combos. Jack X of spades, 10 X of spades. These are the kinds of hands that you want to be able to assign your opponent if you're going to make this call.
Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, what value are we beating if Landon has a value hand? And really, I can't find anything. So it's a bluff, or it's just the goods, and he knows it. Extremely polarizing and agonizing decision. Oh, this is sick.
Yeah.
Gut-wrenching.
Look at the volume of time banks that have been utilized. This is precisely what they're for, though. Huge spot. Can he click call and lay claim to this massive 3.1 in the middle? Or is he going to bin a winner?
I think he's leaning call. I really do. He knows that Landon can do this with the 10X of spades or the Jack X of spades. And those are pretty much the only two bluffing combos, I think.
He's not turning a king into a bluff here.
Never, no. Or a 9 for that matter, right? Anything with showdown value. You go through the hands, right? 9X of spades, probably just check calls.
Oh,
turn.
he does
There
find it,
is.
Brent.
Wow, beautiful.
How validating is the revelation of Jack 6 of spades for young Michael Berk as he dethrones the chip leader coming in and sends him below $1 million and to the bottom of the leaderboard while catapulting himself up and over $6 million. Circle that one if Berk claims the title here today.
Well, he's got a stranglehold on it now. He's got more than 70% of the chips. Whoa.
And that's what whoa looks like on the leaderboard. My goodness. Credit Landon, by the way, Brent. It takes gumption, it takes heart, it takes moxie, and all of that has a lot to do with how Landon got to this final table in the chip lead, lest we be tempted to be critical of his choice there.
Did not make a mistake. A well-executed bluff. He damn near got queens up to hit the muck. And you know what? That moxie, all of a sudden being rewarded. A couple of queens for Tice.
100K. Winter with this ace-5 offsuit. Mulling.
Time extended.
Comes with the call. Overpair for Tice on this damp board. Winter's got that ace of hearts working. Knuckles over.
All in.
Tice rips in the 795, and that makes quick work of Sean as he thumbs the ace and the 5 one by one back where they came from.
You know, even that was thought, though, right? He pile drived it into 275.
Well, you want to level up your tournament game before the summer grind? What better way to pile drive the opposition than taking Octopi Poker's 12-week MTT study program, which is available now. Access the GTO trainer, sim library, vault daily challenges, and weekly coaching with Matt Hunt for just 90 bucks. Don't wait. Head to octopipoker.ai/pricing to sign up and get to work.
$1 a day. Now that's value. I even have $1.
A day?
I mean, I have one, so I'd get 1 day of training, but
I don't know how far 1 day is going to get you, you know? It's like a one-tentacled octopus. Not really that useful, you know, but an 8-tentacled, or 12 for that matter in this case. You
are
know.
there 12?
No, I don't think there are. I mean, maybe the, what was that, Davy Jones, the Pirates of the Caribbean with the beard, the weird.
Qualifiers with the beard tentacles? Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
that. That's how you get to 12. Yeah. Regardless,
That might be a
mutated or
12.
severely handicapped, no matter what. 8, I believe,
If
is
I
the
fold, do I
round
have like 40 seconds?
number of tentacles.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
Interesting.
lean on you for marine biology
All bank, yeah.
Yeah.
at all.
You don't need
Well,
to
that's-
think.
I'll wait.
Where'd you
until
say
the
you
last
went to
possible
school, Brent?
second.
St. Bonaventure University, Eileen.
Right.
Maybe left, but
Let's go, Bonas.
And what a venture it was.
Oh, yeah. You know, Woj is the GM out there at St. Bonaventure.
Wojciechowski?
That's right. Left ESPN
Really?
90s,
to become the
90s,
GM
90s.
at St. Bonaventure. How about that?
You didn't want to, I mean, now that you're an executive.
Well, there's
you
a
didn't
head
wanna
coach
consider-
opening now.
Okay.
So
you're thinking about that?
I submitted a resume.
Yeah. Where do you think that resume ended up?
Hopefully, in Woj's lap,
Yeah.
and he's mulling it over.
I suspect, and I don't want you to be deflated by this, but that it ended up in a shredder. That's where I think you're,
950,000.
you know. What did you put on there? CEO of PokerGO?
I thought I qualified.
And-
you know,
and
it's
also
a
fan of the
strong position.
triangle
alum,
offense.
Got the master's degree there. Man to man.
Tice looking to master a double here with ace-8. Leaves 20K back, 950 into deuce 4 of hearts. This one should be done.
Fold.
Can we just wait for him?
Yeah, I mean, I'm down to just
We can
wait.
just wait for him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I will be
Yeah, just wait. Yeah, just wait. He told me not to bank. I would have banked. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's get a look at Landon Tice's ascent throughout his career. Believe it or not, 2 cent, 4 cent was the limit that he started playing back in his college days, then worked his way into the mid-stakes cash games. Won the MSBT at Venetian for a couple hundred dimes and famously battled Bill Perkins in his 100K heads-up challenge. And his first PGT title came just last year. And the Bounty Blitz, well respected despite being just 26 years of age by a lot of the
Anything
peers,
fun?
a lot of those who
I
are playing
shoved
in
and you
this
folded.
event number 6 elsewhere in the room.
Many of those folks on the wall that you can see, PGT Players of the Year in the background. And yeah, it's been a record-setting series.
Ken Stevens, by the way, currently leading this year's race for the Cup.
It's young Kent right there.
Wilson and Saliba picking up their third. Kevin, maiden PGT title. Stevens was the winner of event number 1 on the docket.
160.
And I love that Kent is sticking around, right? You win event number 1, you're on top of the PGT leader, or the PokerGO Cup leaderboard, I should say. And he's giving it his all. He wants to take home the cup, the title. You get that 25K PGT passport as well. A rising star, perhaps, Mr. Stevens.
Mullally, Kemper, and Laskowitz all with 2 final tables thus far. But FTs alone aren't going to get it done. You need those victories and all the points that come with them if you want to drink from the chalice of glory. Are you allowed? Can you just like a little Stella into the cup and then down the hatch?
It's been done.
Okay, just making sure.
Daniel Negreanu, I believe it was the year 2022.
That's right.
He won the PokerGO Cup, filled it up with a Stella right on stage, and he just guzzled it right out of the cup.
Strong. And the way it should be done, if we're being honest.
Time extension.
Notable, by the way, Negreanu has not yet played a PokerGO Cup event.
Do we have any intel on why that is, by the way? Because normally anything going on in the studio of this nature, he's front and center for.
Typically if I had to guess, look, what do we have here? Are those young Tice's socks? I believe they are.
Poker themed, if I'm not mistaken. By the way, did you clock the kicks on Burk flavor?
Negreanu, by the way, I believe,
Golfing.
to put a bow on it, yes, I believe he's golfing
so
every day.
Deep in the golf streets, man. I mean, he's really caught the bug. Winter limps the 8-5, swing and a miss in both camps here, albeit Tice with position, Broadway gutter, backdoor spades. The preferred kit in this spot.
You ever get out there and swing a golf club? Play around?
Never. If there's not a motorized clown's mouth involved or an undulating, green with a bridge or, a free extra round on 18.
Yeah.
Mini is the kind of golf
You've never, I'm
not playing.
surprised.
I once hit 9, I believe it was, hole-in-ones out of 18 at a mini golf. Now, it was one of those you hit the right pipe and it spits it right toward the cup kind of deals, but
yeah,
course record.
no shit.
Shout
Wow.
out Scandia out in Livermore. Yeah,
Wow.
just saying. I mean, this was
Why don't
30
the
years
short
ago,
game
but
sounds like it's impressive. Why don't you work on the lumber?
180.
Hit the range, grab a driver.
breaking out the lumber is Tice here after flop went check, 180.
Burke doesn't have it,
Take it.
and I don't have it. It's less likely that you don't have it, but it's possible. It's still possible.
Depends what
Like, if I got 4 blockers over here, I mean, it's more.
2 versus 4.
There you see Tice's current ranking, 68. Early here in 2026 on the PGT. 3 cashes, 44K. Tepid results thus far. Don't count him out, though. He'll be in the race when it's all said and done. Puts in the volume, Brent. Does Landon.
Oh, yeah. That's all he does. Wakes up in the morning, studies poker,
We both don't have it. You got it.
eats breakfast while watching poker.
Yeah, I had a pretty hand.
Then he comes to play poker, busts a tournament, goes home, studies more, eats dinner, watches poker, rinse, wash, repeat every single day. The day in the life of a grinder.
The thing is, he doesn't always bust the tournament.
No, he doesn't.
And the other thing is, when you said wakes up in the morning,
Well-
I don't know that that's verified. Could be wakes up in the afternoon,
Fair point.
late morning, maybe. Ace-10, that'll wake him up here on the button. As he's trying to avoid being put to sleep here. Burk loves this setup with Tyson Winter neck and neck, jockeying for the pay ladder of over 40,000. The war of attrition is very much one he's happy to let the two of them wage.
700,000.
700.
Upstairs we go. patrons. Level length in this one, Brent, it's a turbo. 30-minute levels?
Well, it was 40, but then once we reached four-handed, it dropped to 30 minutes. So that's an adjustment that kicks in for the final tables.
But that obviously puts added pressure chronologically on Tyson Winter to make moves and make them sooner rather than later. Both hovering at 20 bigs. But things aren't going to stay 30-60 for long as 40-80 is on deck.
And I expect
1.3
Burk to
million.
sort of just unleash the fury. Yeah, look at this. He's asking for all of it. Maximum pressure with just Jack-8 offsuit.
I like this a lot because he knows that it's got to be a lot of hand that one of these two wake up with to be willing to take their chances.
Yeah, hands like Queen Jack, even King Jack probably fold. Anytime you get called, you're
9-8
likely
suited.
live. Impressive resume thus far in 2026 for Burk. Number 2 on the PGT leaderboard. 1 win, 3 cashes. He is adding to that today. Another top 3 finish guaranteed. By the way, the family chimed in. Burk stands at about 6'6", 6'7".
Stop.
I'm not kidding. I saw it. Yeah,
That's crazy.
he's an animal.
So did he build his bankroll doing those messing with Sasquatch commercials
Likely.
for Jack Links?
Yeah.
120.
Harry and the Hendersons part 2?
Stilts for legs.
6'6", 6'7".
Big guy. He's bigger than me.
That's wild.
Yeah. You think he can still dunk it?
Yeah, I think he's got to be able to yam.
He doesn't have that extra
I
weight.
think so.
Still very thin. I was around 30 when, you know, the springs fell off, but I also started to pack on the pounds at that age. He looks
Right.
like he's got the conditioning down.
You know, I didn't know you back then, Brent,
Yeah.
as we see these two take a flop for 120 ahead, Jack
Right.
7-5, both with a piece advantage Winter.
Yes.
You know, I don't know that the springs were ever really involved in your suspension.
Now, I could rip that rim, Ali. I could get up there, 2 hand, 1 hand. I might be able to. I'll tell you what. I would be open to a prop bet, not with you, for anyone. I think within a month I could condition and train myself and be able to dunk a basketball.
On a regulation rim.
Yeah, 10-footer. Real ball.
I'd hate to see you lose an ACL or something. in one
That
of
would
these
happen.
stunts.
That's the problem.
That is an issue. And you don't really have Lindsey Vaughn's medical team at your
No,
disposal.
I don't
so
even have insurance.
We just have to cut your hoof off.
Right.
Yeah.
Take your leg.
Hang on, did you just say you don't have insurance?
I don't think so.
Wow.
Never needed it.
Well, Burke might need a little insurance here because this 5 deuce is going to be filing a claim in all likelihood for losses. King 7 in good shape. And as played with the flop going check, check, you can see Winter calling here and then deciding on the river should he face further aggression.
10 seconds.
Sure enough. There is the 130. Pot grows to near 600,000. Oh, and 3 sevens means there is no world in which Burke wins this one.
I don't think there's a world in which he puts another chip into this pot.
And by the way, there's nobody rooting harder for Burke right now than Landon Tice. He would love to see Winter dwindle down to 860. That's not going to happen, though.
10 seconds. Two.
Does knuckle, and if you're Winter, you want to get called, right? So what are we targeting? You're hoping you're up against some sort of jack or 9. You probably fold out all the 5x hands. So here it's really about sizing as well. If it is a jack that you're up against, can you get a little greedy and ask for more? think he's in between overbet or something a little cutesy. Half pot or so.
$7.20.
How about the overbet, Ali? He's
Yeah.
going for it.
I was wondering whether or not he would come with a size that kind of targets a 5 or a jack for a call, maybe even a 9. But this here, this is just kind of trying to strike the chord of bluff catch.
Yeah, and I'll
And
tell you
Burk.
though, it's effective because look at Burke not having yet folded this 5. He's wondering, could Winter have done this with a hand that includes some sort of 10? Are there bluffs where now the overbet becomes effective? What are you repping?
I think for Burke, just saying goodbye to this
10 seconds.
and fighting on north of 6 million.
But it's polarizing, Ali, right? Does Winter really have a 7?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he does. So that's his question. Now remember, Winter opened the button. So how many 7s does he really have? What? There are plenty of bluffs. King 10, King Queen, right? That are never giving up on turn. That would feel compelled to overbet river, and that's what made that spot a little tricky for Burke.
2 for 2 though is Burke in the big decisions.
Yeah.
Got it right against Tyson. Now lays it down correctly against Winter, and that is a good formula for him. Nobody is more infamous for being able to operate effectively off of a short stack in all of poker than Sean Winter. So while right now he sits 24 big blinds, you know, even if he gets down to 6, 7 big blinds, he's going to just chisel and grind as hard as one possibly can.
That's a great point. Perhaps nobody does it better, as you stated. I would throw Helmuth in there. El Jefe knows how to work the nub. But Winter, surgical with those short stacks, has a knack to survive and put himself in contention. Just wants to get heads up and have a shot.
Tice, suited one gapper, raised it up, works his way into bottom pair. Unfortunately, he does so at the same time that Winter finds top pair. Sean slips it over. Board textures such as this, not a compulsory follow through for the 10-8, or we just need to ask a modest question, Brent?
I would imagine, yeah, because of the texture and raising button, it's just sort of bet the range. Yes, he has a 10. You're a little concerned about those overcards, but the hand plays just fine even when you get called. Winter is the one that I'm more curious about. Top pair, obviously we can see there's no kicker involved, backdoor spades. One would imagine just call, and does just that.
To the turn we go with another 300K in the middle, sopping wet ace of clubs. Now, club draw arrives, and of course the 4-liner, not to mention the overcard to the king. It's pretty ugly in terms of the development of the board for Sean.
It is, and I'm now flipping my focus back over to Tice.
His range wants to bet this turn, doesn't it?
I would think so. A lot of aces up would want to consider betting. Obviously, if we had a jack, a flush, you know, all of the sets, and you put a ton of pressure on the King X, Queen X type holding. So if he bets, he's turning that 10 clearly into a bluff. Instead, opts to check back and get to the river. And he does hit the 8. 2 pair now for Tice.
Surprise. Note that it's a 4th club, though. I mean, this is all really ugly now. I certainly could see it go check, check. You think Tice chisels any value out of this with the check in front of him?
10 seconds.
I don't, but again, it's just hard to know. You're talking about, you know, the 1%ers when it comes to game
630.
theory. And look at Winter. It is Winter turning his hand into a bluff.
Well, given the opportunity to speak first, considering that Landon checked back on the turn and gave up the betting lead.
This is remarkable from Sean Winter.
And interestingly, I think Tice removes the non-club jack combos from this lead. So it's no longer Broadway that he thinks is lurking. And what he needs to ask himself is how many clubs are in his range. And he doesn't spend much time deciding enough. But
That
listen,
is filthy.
the ace, king, 10, and 8 of clubs are all out there. I mean, perhaps a brief think there with 10s and 8s.
That
Especially
is
if you don't
filthy.
think Sean is going to fire that sizing with better 2 pairs, right?
No, he's never betting 2 pair. I mean, that was just an incredible bluff by Sean Winter.
Well,
Wow.
jump into free online poker with Play Poker Go, where you can grind ring games and run deep in tournaments. No deposits, no bots, no gimmicks, just pure, authentic poker. Play Poker Go also has special free rolls that run every hour on the half hour. Play now at playpokergo.com, available on web, iOS, and Android. You're not going to run into those sorts of plays on Play Poker Go, I have to imagine.
I don't think so, and if you do, it's probably not for the same reasons that these guys right here on your screen are choosing to do so. And you know, it's a couple queens now for Winter. Ali, one thing that is so important for you and I, and we see it time and time again, it's impossible for us to really predict, nor should we even try to predict what these guys are going to do street by street. They are so talented, and their mind is just on a different wavelength.
Listen, I'm going to make
150.
a confession that isn't going to take anyone by surprise, but if I was even half as good as the guys that are out there right now, I wouldn't be in here talking about them.
No.
I'd be out there trying to battle with them.
10 seconds.
7-8 off suit in the big here for Tice as the queens get a customer. Buck 50 ahead. Here comes the appetizer. Jack 10-5, gut shot versus overpair.
Out of position, Winter. With those queens, queen of diamonds working as well. It's all about sizing. How much? Look at Landon's stack. He's only got 640 behind.
10 seconds. Turn extension.
He lays the rope. It's understandable. When you've got 2 queens on this type of board, you're just hoping that Tice is connected in some way, shape, or form.
And Tice doesn't take the bait. A free pull at a 9. Instead, a board pairing 10, putting a 3rd diamond out there. Winter with the only flush draw.
Second check now out of Winter, thinking, all right, well, probably a way ahead or way behind scenario. I might as well let my opponent start bluffing. Doesn't work. Oh my gosh, he hit it.
9 on the river. Tice somehow allowed to get 2 free pulls here, and perhaps too much slow play out of Sean.
No, I don't think so. It's just pretty unlucky for Winter, and it had to be, it couldn't be the 9 of diamonds, clearly, as we can see.
3 outer.
10 seconds.
All in.
Oh boy. Goes for all of it and is going to get snapped. That is very unfortunate.
Okay.
You see the grimace on Sean's face.
One.
Sometimes that is how the cookie crumbles.
Very unfortunate for Winter and a lovely development for Tice. What just happened here?
Well, there's a look at what just happened. Tice works his way back into second at the expense of Winter's pocket queens. Now sitting north of Sean by 11 big blinds, but of course the two of them looking way up at Michael Berk, who sits on the throne, poised to take down this event number 5 of the 2026 PokerGO Cup, but not before at least one of these guys has something to say about it. But who will book the appointment
When do they draw?
for heads-up play?
And 3 minutes.
Look pretty poised and unflappable thus far is Tice. Had all the chips, had a bluff go wrong, and then just found a little fortune on the river against Winter.
I'm glad that you point that out, because while Tice is making it look like kind of a run-of-the-mill deal, when you go hard in the paint like that against Burk and a man finds the big call and you did everything right, there are those who can't really recover from the emotional disappointment of that. Generally not at these echelons, but underneath what seems like this cyborg facade, people are still human. And even in this rarefied air, you will see some who will get their lug nuts loosened in that spot and then begin to unravel. Not Landon Tice.
I just made a I made a 5-card hand.
I was like, he can't have queen 8. He doesn't have king queen. I was a little worried of 7-8, but not that like
Not super worried,
like yeah. Nope.
Baby suited ace now. Tice looking to string
120.
together
120.
a little surge. Buck 20, he says.
Button good.
I saw you snapped, and then I was like, really?
Could he have that
And
win?
then I saw there was no 10 there.
There was no 10.
When he snapped, you could have just walked your cards.
Really?
Do you think he's snapping with a...
Jack 9? I don't know.
He put in his chips with haste.
What do you think?
There was haste. I would call Jack pretty fast, but not that fast, probably. I'd care a little bit more about what I thought you had. I'd care a little bit more. When you're straight, if he's got it, he's got it. That's why you called 2-pair. If he's got it, he's got it.
He got it, he got it.
Jack 5 off, see if Tice goes to work with a pretty bad hand. Does not, knuckles over.
Blind versus blind didn't work out so well for Winter last time out. Queen 8 stays ahead of Jack High. Pretty dry board here. Landon thinking about it.
60.
I'll take it, he says, with 60K.
Well, he's starting the first chapter of a small storybook. And for Winter, I just don't think we're done with Queen High.
Yeah, I think we assume that Landon would have made noise with an ace high behind us. And we're going to peel one time before we decide that the man has a king or a 3. Oh, now a board pairing king, and that queen high is going to stay even more interested because the 8 is no longer at issue.
No, it's not. And I'm more now concerned. If I'm Tice, I start to wonder, could jack high be good? Winter would be likely peeling out of position wider than just what we can see to be queen high. You're hoping that this street goes check, check. It's really just going to come down to this river. What does Landon want to do with jack high? If he bets, he's trying to fold out exactly what we can see. A hand like queen X. Okay, he does knuckle. And remember what you stated, Ali. I don't believe that he feels that Landon ever has an ace in his hand.
Ah,
Yeah.
man.
He was thinking about betting. And he may have gotten called by jack
Hopefully
high,
we were
believe it or not.
stopping. So close.
I don't know, though. How many peels does Sean have that fall to the jack high? Not impossible, but
Oh, didn't
I
It's
assume
my
it
favorite
is
part of the show
possible.
here, Ali.
You wouldn't by chance be referencing Blue Chew.
Oh, I'm
Would you?
all in on Blue Chew.
Oh, yeah?
So's the chat. Oh, they're very excited. Now they're even more excited than ever.
Well, with
Suddenly
Blue Chew Gold,
sprung.
You too can go all in, or at least most of the way. Seven of clubs now for Sean on the button. Serviceable, and yet he lays it down. I confess I'm a little bit surprised at that choice. Maybe Burk in the big is what he doesn't want to run into in terms of some presumption. I mean, normally it's Tice who's going to be a little bit more alarmed by altercations with Burk here because Michael can just put so much pressure on Landon with Sean having fewer chips and the pay ladder, but
You just never know with Winter. It very well could be a fold a high percentage of the time given the stack
How long
depth
is the break?
in this dynamic. Also, you heard him mutter there about a short break. You might just have to go use the restroom, right?
his clubs were cooked here as we see Landon's limp with the king jack of clubs has lured 200 dimes off of Burk's hand, off of Burk's stack with the 9-6 off.
Well, let's watch the young gun decide what's best with the hand as good as king jack suited. He says, I'm just going to call.
King, queen, 9, all spades. Bottom pair and the only flush draw versus top pair and a gutter here. Interactions for both parties.
It's amazing the equities here. Essentially a coin flip. Both players hitting it quite hard for their holdings. What does Burk want to do? Bottom pair, you do have that spade working.
Knuckle back. Just an absolute brick turn here. And again, Landon, while he knows he's got a lot of hand in this situation, he's not eager to play a big pot against Burk with Sean's 1 million elsewhere in this threesome.
Yeah, the other concern too, and that's why I believe he checked again a second time, is wait, what didn't Burk decide to bet on this board?
Yeah, he made a 200 pre and then checked back this
It's a
board.
little concerning. You would think all the stone zero hands would have bet, whereas value likely just trying to get to showdown. And this is the street where you sort of wonder, can Landon find value for that king? Now, ICM-wise, I think he probably just continues to check, but he feels probably quite confident. I know an ace hit the river.
But he can block bet it.
Right.
If he doesn't bet, though, you could see Burke potentially turn it into a bluff. Of course, Landon deciding to do exactly as mentioned and block bet for 125.
This is really nice by Landon.
He's setting his own price to get the showdown.
Any ace X that may have raised if you're Burke, which I don't even know if he has that many aces that weren't Broadway coordinated, you would have heard from by now.
You know, Brent, the only issue with a block bet is if it looks like a block bet.
Yeah, pounce on it.
Sometimes you will see some ambush,
Time extension.
and a 9 could turn itself into a bluff potentially. But let's see whether or not Burke has that on his mind.
I think, wow, this is filthy good. Filthy good by Landon. Gets called.
That's a good feeling right there for Landon Tice. Of course, an even better feeling would be to work his way back up to the top of the leaderboard, but still a lot of work left to do as the gap between he and Michael Berk, who dethroned him, still sits at 2.6 million, let's call it. Sean Winter down in third. Brent and I are going to step aside, but we'll continue with more of event number 5 of the PokerGO Cup after this.
It is a new time. It is a new chapter. We are here live in the brand new PokerGO campus. No gamble, no future. Hence, myself and the face of FS1, Nick Wright, are going to bring to all of you the best poker show, combining poker, combining sports, and sports cards.
Let's get to work.
What the hell is combining all 3 industries to create the best poker show on planet Earth? Thank you.
Thank you.
Bumblebees, Barneys, and Bluebirds from right to left. Another Carolina boy, by the way, Michael Berk. South Carolina. Only started playing poker in 2019. That's a late bloom on him, Brent.
Now, is that where he dropped out of community college, was down in South Carolina?
I didn't get a specific reference to the community college, but I would imagine one doesn't travel away from home to attend community college. You kind of stay in your community.
I didn't realize it was possible to drop out of community college. I thought if you just entered, you were done. You got your degree.
Yeah. Well, that isn't quite how it works, Brent. I hate to deflate your spirits here early in the broadcast.
Learn something new every day.
But I think dropping out, I mean, you just sort of stop going. It's not.
275.
They're not going to miss you.
They're not
You know
going
what
to
I mean?
boot you.
The
you know.
registrar's office isn't calling, going, "Where are you?"
Right.
You know. Laskowitz hoists the main sail with an ace-6 offsuit. And now Winter with the hard 8. But perhaps even harder decision.
10 seconds.
This is pretty brutal for Winter. You have hands like ace-4, ace-3, ace-deuce in trouble.
Call.
He is going to make the call. It's the one stack that he covers, Brent. So
Right.
getting it wrong here or having it not work out isn't fatal. It could be harmful. And Laskowitz did lead 5K back.
275.
And for those less familiar with this process, Brent, the whole raise to almost all of your stack, then it gets back around and he's kind of stalling. What is the thought here? What is the strategic procedure?
Just in case things went haywire behind him, perhaps Big Uni was all in, Winter's all in,
there.
Tice calls. You could, believe it or not, consider folding the hand like that and move up in the payouts. However, as we can see, those payouts that are looming,
Queens?
gone.
Winter with the dark 5K. given that he flatted
Possibly a pocket queen.
pre-flop, and he does flop fours full, which
Oh,
has
pocket queen.
Laskowitz all but dead.
Yep.
Running queen six, queen ace, queen queen, ace ace, things like this.
Folded queen,
Improbable, of
ace.
course.
What do we have here? A delivery of sorts. Is this a hat delivery from young Jeremy Becker?
Couldn't even take the tag off, bro.
Right in the middle of this all in.
Yeah, nothing serious.
Good game, bro.
And on the turn, unfortunately for Sam Laskowitz, his time in the on-deck circle leads to a strikeout. Always the man upon whom the eyes were focused. His departure yields $38,000.
We're back for more continuing coverage here of event number 5 of the PokerGO Cup. I'm Brent Hanks, joined by Ali Najad. Three-handed for the title.
That was really well done, Brent. Honestly, I should come to rely on you for those more often. Here's a look at the remaining payouts. As 3 jockey for points toward that PokerGO Cup, 93,000 secured. 134 and change. If you can make it to heads-up play, and then of course over 200,000 to the eventual winner as level 20 is upon us. 40, 80, and 80, Brent, means every 3 hands, 200,000 is shaved right off your stack.
Yeah, stacks are slim, especially for Sean Winter. Hovering around those 12 big blinds, and he's about to face the fury that is Michael Berk, our chip leader.
1.1.
All of it.
All in. I don't know why I shoved, but it's too late. I assume you put me all in.
Yeah, well, I think I did.
He did. He did. He said 1.1.
Yeah.
So you were forced.
Well, Brent, it didn't take long for Sean Winter to find an opportunity to get all his chips forward, and just look at the spot he's been given here by Michael Berk. Small versus big, a jam, a call, and a 3-2 favorite is Sean Winter.
Yeah, slight favorite.
Almost 2 million out there. Here comes King, Queen 10 though.
Came in ace
And
last
now
time.
Berk, a 3-1 favorite with 2 to come.
Queen 8 or Queen 9?
Queen 8.
Oh, that's good.
Club could
About the
prove
same.
important as well for Berk as Sean hunts the jack. Instead, he's given a 7, and now he's just got 8 outs.
All right, good luck to
7.
you guys.
Make it.
Got all the
Forgive me.
tricks.
Did you fold an ace,
See the
Landon?
jack of clubs
I did not.
not available,
Take good luck.
and continued
Wow, look, they put on the big
participation
turnaround.
unavailable
Berk
as
turnaround.
well. As a board pairing
that.
king
they
ices
got
Sean
that
Winter out of this one,
Here comes
got
the
the
eulogy
spot that
screen.
he wanted, but instead gets his walking papers in third for 93,150.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, rinse, wash, repeat.
Best
It's a
hand's not good
guarantee. Sean Winter always finds the podium and at all the majors. He's hunting for
Okay.
first place if he's going to bring home that cup. Few events remain.
Well, that's nearly $37 million in career tournament earnings that's headed for the exits now, as the 2 young guns, Michael Berk and Landon Tice, will collide heads up for the title here in event number 5 at this 10K final table.
Oh, yeah.
Never mind it.
And we are underway with the button on Michael Berk.
There it is.
Heads up
You're
record.
5 and 2.
Oh, 5 and 2.
5 wins, 2 losses in the relative infancy.
I was like, where did they
His
come up with this?
heads-up
They
career.
must be
Same
coming up
story
with
for
numbers.
Tice, who's just a click
Look, now I'm
north
back.
at 6 wins and 2 losses. Both very much on the winning side of the ledger. And what's deceptive about the win-loss heads-up record statistic, as you get another look at the payouts here, brought to you by Poker News, Brent, is you never know how many chips
I'm actually
a player
5 and
brings
1.
into
5
heads
and a
up.
half and 1.
Sometimes
Yeah.
you come in with a nub, you know,
Right,
like
that's
10
really
bigs,
what I
5 bigs.
It's 80
you
by the
know,
way.
to 80 bigs.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I
just
think when you consider the
call it
style
off
of
a bunch of
play,
them.
there are those who tend to work their way into heads up with big chip leads, and those who sometimes eke their way in.
Well, it's all fair. And one thing I can tell you Both of these guys are trying to claim their first PGT major title. They have wins on the
glad
PGT
the
Tour,
pictures are
but this
gone.
is a
I don't, like, look like myself
defining
in the
major
picture.
here at the
Like-
PokerGO Cup.
Perhaps that
Just a normal
explains
background is good.
why Tice is wearing that big broad smile as he checks back with the Jack Deuce of diamonds, swinging a miss in both camps here on the Qinghai rainbow texture. Same story on the turn.
Michael Berk's PGT title, non-major, came as part of this year's 2026 kickoff series. Landon Tice, I know you mentioned this previously on the broadcast, Ali. He won a Bounty Blitz title.
Yep.
In
That was last year.
2025.
23 caches for Tice, 9 final tables at the PGT. 17 caches and 7 FTs for Burk. Will bet and take it with his Qinghai. Now we talked about Burk dropping out of community college. Landon Tice also a college dropout. How about that? He dropped out of Florida State University. It's a Seminole
Yeah.
down in Tallatrashy.
Tallatrashy. Is that what you? Really?
I think I did say
Is
that.
it? Is it not a great part of Florida?
Listen, I've not been there, but coming from people who have gone to school and been there, this is a term of endearment that they've assigned to Tallahassee.
Is it a party school, Florida State?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Did you really ask that on national television?
Well, I assume maybe it was a wonderful institution.
That's
academically
yes,
speaking.
Yes, it is wonderful. In many, many ways, I'm sure. Not many of which are good for your liver. Meanwhile, a limp with the 10-8 on the button. Ace-7 suited for Burk. Mulls it
350.
and then shoots it.
350.
I don't think the 10-8 is going to be particularly keen. But let's see if the appetite remains intact for an extra 270.
I would imagine it's closer than you believe, given the size to 350. It's not a terrible hand, but yeah, you were onto it, Ali. It is in the muck. A hair deeper, perhaps we call in position.
Yeah, not going to have a ton of limp folds, but that one fell into the camp. And Burk snacks, working his way up to almost 7 million after absorbing Sean Winter's tokens. Well, the $3 million guaranteed Survivor Madness World Championship is live on Splash Sports. Entry is just $150 and you can fire multiple bullets, all hosted by the new No Gamble, No Future host, Nick Wright. Don't wait, the deadline is March 19th. Go to splashsports.com/Nick to reserve your spot before the contest sells out.
Now, are you familiar with this on Splash Sports, that $3 million guarantee? There is one winner, and that amount is $3 million. Now, you can have
make
a chop.
deal? Yeah, I was going to say.
Anything can fly. Sometimes there's going to be a tie, but typically in a I shouldn't say March Madness, in the tournament type
240.
contest, there's almost always going to be a very small handful of winners, 2, 3, 4, that will chop up that $3 million.
Well, you know, the aptly named Splash Sports, there's going to be a lot of people who are getting wet. The idea of $3 million.
$3 million guaranteed. $150.
240,000, says Tice, after the limp from Burk, his queen 8, falling into the durable enough to make the call category. 560 in the middle. King 9-5 rainbow. No pair anywhere. And for Landon, his thoughts don't center around what does my actual hand want to do so much as it does what does my range want to do in these scenarios.
Yeah, spot on. And I don't know if Burk has enough of a hand to want to continue fighting. I'll tell you one thing, I don't suspect we call all that often.
I mean, he's got a lot of gut shots that could come together on the turn, but that's just half of the equation. He's got a hit.
He's probably thinking maybe more of, no, he does call. I thought maybe we'd raise or just fold, but instead he does float in position.
Well, 125 was just cheeky enough to keep the queen high in there. And now this is a fairly nice card for Tice on the turn, because even if he didn't have the king X, some ace X might have been following through and could credibly barrel at this turn.
And just by calling there, as Burk did, you put Tice into this sort of scenario. You force him into wanting to continue to tell the story, and he does back off.
I'm a bit surprised, Brent, at the lack of follow-through on the turn here, unless maybe he's got more heroism in mind. We saw him pull off the check raise with that Jack-6 of spades.
Very possible. You know, depending on the type of texture on the river, it is a blank, the deuce of spades. Does Tice see this as door back open? Would we have played ace-X in this regard? Bet flop, check turn, and then again betting river, or do we just wave it? Do we wave the white flag? There it is. He is going to try and tell this story like, yeah, I'm just pot controlling. And a quick winner on the river. That's just well done and well executed by Tice.
Little 211 there. There's the 10 high. Gets through a queen high.
Really nice, right? Nothing fancy, just effective.
Reminder that today's coverage is brought to you in part by Global Poker, presenting sponsor of the 2026 PokerGO Cup. Well, the Robbie on the button here for Tice, Jack 4, and if you're scratching your temple going, what on earth is Ali on about? Just Google it. Perhaps one of the most infamous hands of poker ever played on a broadcast. Mired in controversy, and to this day still unsolved is that riddle involving Garrett Adelstein and Robbie Jade Liu.
Somebody has the answer.
Yeah.
Will they step forward on it? Will the truth ever be known?
Well, maybe there is no answer, though. Maybe it non-zero, that it's just a woman who was proud of Jack High.
Maybe misread the hand.
Anything's possible. Neither Jack High in love with the vista here.
Where were you on that, by the way? The great debate with the Robbie. Did you think that it was a misread, heroic call, or did you think maybe some shenanigans were involved?
I think I'm on the shenanigans side of it.
Yeah? You think a little something was
Yeah.
going on there?
I mean, listen, I hate to speculate on that side of the fence as we see this one uneventfully take shape. And it'll be a chop with both players playing the board, provided nobody gets after it, which isn't a given. Because I think that a lot of people who are naysayers of poker will use situations like that to support their decision not to partake.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really unfair sort of small case, and the exception, not the rule of what's going on out there. But I think it's certainly a perpetual battle, especially as the stakes get higher and there's more up for grabs, to ward off the bad actors and those who would kind of look to take advantage.
I don't listen. A lot of what you just said was soup salad to me as far as the words are concerned. I believe what you're saying is that Garrett got cheated.
Yeah,
that's
well,
where you believe.
Yeah, there was a little more to it.
Yeah.
You know,
I didn't understand that part, but many did at home.
It's just
the man got cheated. That's what you're saying.
I gave you kind of a cornucopia of content, and
I don't see even like
you
that
plucked out.
cornucopia. That sounds
yeah,
X-rated to me.
no.
It's not, though.
No. Where'd you say, St. Bonaventure? Just those out there who perhaps have a child on the precipice of going to college, maybe steer them clear of Bonaventure.
Wonderful university.
Yeah.
Ace-4 suited for Burke.
Wonderful hand on the button. Gonna play it as a limp now. Ooh.
Well, keep your eyes on this.
King 8, you say?
I do say.
10 seconds.
240.
240,000.
How does Burke want to respond?
Just comes with the flat. Four, 4, 8.
Oh, boy.
This is problematic now. Forgive the obvious. Tice hooking up with 8s and 4s. Big kicker.
This
Is the aggressor in this one, and he's cooked, Brent.
It's a massive cooler, as played.
10 seconds.
125.
I think we're pulling a pin in a grenade here, and the explosion is not far off. It would take something to get all 1-7 out of Landon here, but Tice is unafraid, if he has a read that his hand is good, to make commitments at that scale. Burke quite happy to flatten, extend rope, and now
Oh,
kings
boy.
and 8s.
Okay.
Put a fork in Landon Tice, absent an 8 or a king. Just 9%, better than 0, of course. But lean on options is Landon here. 8-10 in the middle, 1-7 back. 2 streets to get it in across.
600.
This is 3/4 pot deployment.
It's unavoidable.
No, but I think
For
Burke.
Tice.
I think Burke's happy to flat again here, don't you?
I would imagine, although there is merit for just let's put in the raise. Make it look like a combo draw that picked up backdoor hearts. But I think as played, and given
Yeah.
that Landon only has 1.1 behind, just call.
Yeah, because look at the SPR now.
Yeah.
We're at 0.5. 7 completes 5-6. I don't think that's on Landon's mind, unless it was specifically 5-6 of hearts.
Yeah, you're spot on. Landon is hoping to target a stubborn 8, maybe even a turned king. If he shoves, it's for pure value.
Oh my goodness, he's checking, and I'm not sure what his reaction's going to be when the jam comes. I think he snaps, right?
He has to. Those backdoor hearts, you know that Burke called with something on the turn. It's probably some draws, and if it's a 4, so be it. Your hand is too good. I don't think he can ever fold kings and 8s as played.
3 million.
10 seconds.
Asking for all of it
Have a four.
is Michael Berk, and indeed, Landon Tice snaps. And that'll do it. Respects paid between the two. But it is Michael Berk who emerges victorious, $207,000 and coveted points toward the PokerGO Cup, while Landon Tice
There he
is
goes.
left on the hunt for a PGT major yet again. Runner-up, no shame in $134,000, nor the way that he conducted himself out there today. But the sun shines down on all 6'6" of Michael Berk as he ascends to the heights of PGT major title stardom. $207K to add to a handsome $2.8 million coming in career tournament earnings, putting him up and over $3 million, and he looked solid throughout, Brent.
Well, he's having a career best start here in 2026. Second on the leaderboard for the PGT, inching closer and closer towards that top spot, and perhaps on his way to a PokerGO Cup title.
Yep. Of course, somewhere out there, Kent Stevens is going to have a little something to say about that. The current leader in the points before this, and the mini cup is yours, sir. And you see Burk all smiles as the tension is broken. His second PGT title, and if I had to guess, Brent, I wouldn't bet on it being his last. As Michael
This
Berk.
kid is a staple. He's here to stay as Michael Berk.
That he is. Well, unfortunately, we're no longer here to stay, as that's our time. But event number 6 comes your way tomorrow. Don't want to miss it. Same time, same place. But until then, on behalf of our entire crew here in Las Vegas and my partner in the booth, Brent Hanks, this is Ali Najad saying thanks for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow for more of the 2026 PokerGO Cup.